Purpose of this video is to cover the new character sheets for this game. The character sheets are in Microsoft Office Excel. The character sheet file has 30 pages, 30 worksheets, or as you may think of them as tabs. Most of those exist simply to enable the functionality of the character sheet to automate a lot of the calculations and moving the data around. So you don't need to worry about most of those. Most of them are hidden because they are just there for background functionality. The sheets that are not hidden, you don't need to worry about printing any of those if you want to work with a printed character sheet. There's only one page that you need to print if you want to work with printed material. And that's the summary page. If you are going to work with printed material, there are two other pages that I recommend you print. It's up to you, depending on how useful you find them, but it's your resources, your list of equipment and your skills, the descriptions for them, a little more in-depth information. The other sheets are optional. And then this About page, you don't need to print this at all. This is simply here to explain what each page is for. So let's take a look at each page, starting in the order that you would fill out the character sheet if you were making a new character. If you are making a new character, or even for the character that you currently have, the first sheet you should visit is Bio. This is the information about your character. Let's take a closer look at it here. The view I'm currently in is Page Layout. That shows the header information. You can click in the box in the header to fill out your character, player and character information. And then this is just a questionnaire right out of the player's handbook that you can choose to fill out or ignore. It's just something to help guide you in fleshing out your character. Like, who is this character? And then if you want to add your own questions, and then, answer it, you can do that. That's the character bio page. The next page we're going to take a look at in the character sheets are your character priorities. Again, the header information. And then as you place whatever priority level you want, you'll see that it dynamically changes to reflect whatever the value is that you're getting from that priority level. And then you have a place here to take some notes. The only place that you have access to, well, it's not the only place, but these gray cells are locked. You can't change those. There's no reason for you to change those. Your focus is here in these green cells. And then this extra space is just here for whatever notes you want. Now that we have the bio and the priorities filled out for this character, we're going to do the attributes. You see here that the priority level that you have assigned to attributes has been carried forward from the priorities page. As before, you can select these gray cells, but you can't modify them. As you fill in the values for your attributes, the cells will automatically fill in. And you have a place here for some notes. The next page we're going to look at is Battle Prowess. Your scores and how much XP are required to raise them is automatically calculated. Values are brought forward from other pages. If your priority level in Battle Prowess is high enough for you to have a concentration or specialization, then these will be green. And you can select from the drop down. As you see, once you make the selection, everything's automatically calculated. If you've raised one of these points, put in how many points you put into it. You can see it calculates and updates. Your combat pools are also automatically calculated. And again, you have a place to take some notes. Now we're going to take a look at the faith page. Just as with the Battle Prowess page, values are carried forward and calculated. The green cell for concentration is there because of the priority level that's assigned to faith. Specialization is gray because the priority level is not high enough for this character to be able to have a specialization in faith. The choices available for you to concentrate or specialize will be available through the drop-down menu. More on that later. As before, if you put any points into it. Put them in here, and it's automatically calculated and updated. Combat pools, automatically updated. The thaumaturgies. The thaumaturgies are automatically populated as well, based on the priority level that you have assigned to faith. So this particular character knows ceremony and futhark. And there's a place to take notes. And now we're going to look at Psionic Aptitude. Psionic Aptitude works the same as the previous priority pages. One new change here that is only relevant to the Psionic Aptitude is the available disciplines. Based on the priority level this character has assigned, this character can have access to the psionic powers found within 3 different disciplines. You just need to pick what disciplines those are. And then these cannot change. Having access to a psionic discipline does not grant you knowledge of how to use any particular psionic power. That psionic power must still be learned. And you have a place to take notes. Now we're going to take a look at the resources page. The resources page has a place for you to record any resources that you were personally carrying, but for our particular campaign that's not relevant. Everyone's keeping their resources in a collective pool. There's a place here for you to record whatever personal gear your character has on you. This is all free-form typing. There's nothing looked up here. Awesome ring, quantity, whatever the weight I want. The weight is automatically added up. See here that the weight carried will change. Your current encumbrance level is also highlighted. You can see that the current encumbrance level is unencumbered. And if I increase the amount of weight I'm carrying and it moves me to a new encumbrance, you see that it changes. And if I'm trying to carry too much, it tells me that. So the only thing that is automated here is the weight calculations and the encumbrance determination, and the priority level that was assigned to resources is carried forward. Everything else on this is free form for you to type. Now we're going to look at the skills page. As before, the cells that are grayed out, you cannot type in them. There's calculations or data being automatically carried forward. The green cells is what you need to focus on. Here you can pick whatever skill your character has. You can also just start typing it. and it'll filter out automatically. If you have a concentration or specialization, this is freeform. You can type something in there. And then any calculations that need to be done are made. The point cost, how many points it costs to buy that skill, is automatically filled in. See here that this character started off with 10 points, received 4 bonus points for a total of 14, and has spent 3. If you spent any additional points out of your starting points, that gets filled in here. If you have a knack, you're going to put in a number here. The little red flag indicates there's a note there. So for this example, if you have the knack and the mentor bonus, you're going to enter in a value of 2. Most of you don't have a knack or a mentor bonus, so this value is probably going to be 0. If you raised the skill level any, you're going to put in a point here, or however many points you've raised it, just as before. The total skill rating is what you need to focus on. That's how many dice your character is going to roll whenever you're making that skill check. If the skill can be raised with combat experience points, there's going to be a value here. If it can be raised with role-playing experience points, you'll find a value there. If it can be raised with both, that means you can spend points from either combat or role-playing or both. That is what we call LXP, learning experience points. If you have extra skills and your points spent exceeds starting points, don't worry about it. That's just there for initial character creation as a guide. There's enough room here for 10 skills. Yep, 10. If your character has more than that, we'll set up a second page. The next page we're looking at is Spellcraft. This functions just like the Faith page. Calculations are automatically made. Gray cells are not for you to do anything with them. Just focus on the green cells. Raised it, put a plane in. In this particular case, this character's priority level in Spellcraft is so low that a concentration and specialization is not available. That's why they're grayed out. Dice pools, put points into them. And the thaumaturgies, just like in the Faith, it's automatically populated here. So you know that this character can work with magic through the use of alchemy. And a place to take notes. Maybe you want to keep track of what spell you know here. Maybe you know the fire breath spell with a force rating 6. Maybe you want to record that here. A dedicated spell book file will be coming soon. The next page we're going to look at is XP. This is where you're going to keep track of how much XP you have earned, how much you have spent, and the math is automatically done. Keep track of how much XP has been contributed to the community bank. Whatever that is. Okay, these cheapest upgrades, this is for you to put a number in here, and it will automatically populate and show you what your cheapest upgrades are based on, like right now I'm looking at the 10 cheapest upgrades for my combat experience points. Put in any number here. If you put in a number larger than the number of skills or abilities or what have you that can be upgraded, you get this # reference error. Just ignore that. That's fine. It's just saying that you've entered in a number that exceeds what was found. Meaning this character doesn't have more than, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This character doesn't have any more than 6 things that can be upgraded by RXP. Another thing to keep in mind with LXP is if something can be upgraded with LXP, of learning experience points, that means you can spend both combat experience points and role-playing experience points on it. There are more than 9 things that your character is going to have that you can spend LXP on. However, due to the way the lookups and everything works, it was just easier for me to split it out this way. So if you find something underneath CXP and RXP, that simply means that you can spend either points on them. The last page we're going to look at is the summary page. If you're going to work with anything printed, this is the page that you should be printing. If you're just working with it electronically, this is probably the main page you're still going to spend most of your time in. The summary page carries forward information found on all the other pages. There's a place here for you to insert a custom picture. It should be a little larger than 1.5 inches. It should be about 1.6 inches by 1.6 inches. Your experience points are carried forward. Again, You can't edit these gray cells. There's a place here for you to take notes. You'll find your priorities are carried forward, as are your attributes and your battle prowess, these other scores. You'll find your shield bonus, place for you to record your slashing armor class, your piercing, and your bludgeoning. If you have a morale modifier, there's a place for you to record what that is. Place for you to record your stamina damage, your physical damage, your fatigue damage. The modifiers are automatically looked up. The point at which death occurs is automatically calculated. There is a place for you to record your skills. This is not automatically looked up. There's a place here to record 11 skills. If you've got concentrations or specializations and you got a lot of skills, it's easy for you to have a lot more on your page, on your skills page, than there's room here on the summary page. So you just want to bring forward the ones that are going to be used most frequently. The same goes for your gear. There's room here for 4 pieces of gear, but obviously you can record a lot more than that on the resources page. You're just going to want the items that are most commonly used. There's a place here to record the range, so if you're using a weapon like a wand, a force bolt, or if you got a crossbow or something, you can record what the range is for that weapon. PB for point blank, short, it's an S, medium range, long range, extreme range. So whatever the range is, you can record that. Place for you to put your skill or force rating and the damage type. Maybe it does piercing damage, record that. Or it does force damage, you can record that. And here you find information related to threat ratings and group actions. More on that later. And your resources are carried forward in terms of, how much weight you're carrying and whatever you have for personal resources, your encumbrance value, and how much you can carry before you run into your next encumbrance limit. Here's a tip for your skills and your gear. In Excel, if you go to View, make a new window, you'll get a duplicate. And then you can put it side by side. You can have one of these Excel windows be your summary page, and the other can be your skill page. Then you can manually type it in, or you can have it fill it in for you automatically. You start off with an equals, and then you come over here and you click on the cell that you want it to pull that information from. And you see that it's automatically typed. So if I were to change this to some other skill, it's automatically changed over on my summary page. Skill description is probably going to be it may be too long to fit on the summary page, but you'll get the gist of it. It's going to be most useful for the rating. because that way if you bump up your skill rating, you don't forget to come back here to update it. Get the idea. Then you can do the same thing with any equipment that you want to bring forward on your summary page. Whatever you want. Whatever you find useful to you. And that's it for the character sheets.